Hello and welcome back. So today I'm going to be doing a video
on the top 5
local news and weather
channels
on your Roku for free. And the main reason I'm doing this is because as you can see, it's snowing right now. There's a nor'easter that is coming in the US right now, and I thought, why not make this video? Because it's important for everyone to stay aware of the weather that's happening right now, stay aware of the local news in your area. So that's what this video is going to be about, how to watch local news and weather for free on your Roku. Not only to stay on top of the nor'easter, like if there's any school closings or anything related to it, but just to stay on top of local news in general in your area. So that's what this video is going to be mainly about. So hopefully you enjoy it and be safe out there during this snowstorm. Number 1 on my top 5 local news and weather channels for your Roku is your local news station. Now, this depends on where you live, alright? If you live in Massachusetts, you're going to get about 2 local stations. If you live in New York, I think you're going to be getting at least 1. I mean, like I said, it depends on your local station and what your local station is going to be doing. Like, for example, if you live in Massachusetts, I recommend the Boston 25 News app. So what your local station is going to be doing is it's going to be giving you a live stream of news in your area. It's going to be playing you newscasts non-stop. If it doesn't air any news, what it usually do, at least on my station, it airs a digital news brief at noon. Sometimes they air additional news briefs in the weekends. Other times they air regular newscasts. So that's what my local station does, at least Boston 25 in my area. That's a nice thing. So if you go down here, I can get a live stream of my weather, so I can check out the radar. I can check out my 7-day forecast. And there's another section right here, so I can check out the temperature right now in my area, even though this is not exactly where I live. That's the thing about this station though, you can't change it, so that's the thing I don't like. But I can get the forecast, and I can check out a weather report at the bottom if I want to. You can check out your local news through videos as well, so you can check out the top local headlines. You can also check out segments that originally aired in the newscast, like investigations, in-depth reporting, mysteries, political news, sports news, and a lot more content. Once again, this is all depending on the local news station that you check out on your Roku. Here's a tip for you, by the way. What I recommend you do is, go down to search channels on the Roku channel store and just search for, like, if you know, like a caller. Like, for example, if you live in Florida and you know the station's caller, that's WFTV, all you gotta do is just search WF TV, and it's going to be giving you all the local stations, easily through your callers. Like, let's just do something like WC. Let's just search WC. And boom, you're going to be getting a lot of local news stations in your area through their callers. Like, if you live in Charlotte, you can get the news in North Carolina. If you live in Charleston, you can get the news there. So that's the number 1 thing you should check out on your Roku when it comes to the top 5 local news and weather channels. Your local news station. It's going to be there on your Roku for free. It's going to be offering you live stream of news and local weather and stories that you may miss on the newscast, but you can check out on your TV anytime you want. So that's number 1. Number 2 is NewsOn. Now, NewsOn is the hub of local news. NewsOn is going to be giving you news that you need to know through the newscast that airs on your local station. So on the main screen here, you will be able to check out news live. So that's a great thing right here. On the main screen for the feature carousel, I can get news near my area. I can also go down and I can check out stations that I favorited. Like, for example, I want to check out news in New York. I can check it out right here by adding it to my favorites. I can also check out other stations nearby me. So that's a good thing right here. And I can check out stations that NewsOn recently added. So that's a great thing as well. Now, if you go to the top of the NewsOn app, you'll be able to check out local news stations from across the country. Now, I'm going to get to that in a moment, but you see in the middle of the screen, now this is a thing that NewsOn does. Whenever there's breaking news or there's something important like holiday traveling or any weather alerts, what they usually do is they add a third button to the top of the screen temporarily, and it's going to be giving you news that you need to know on that important breaking news event that's happening. So if I click on it, then I'm going to be getting like news live from where the local area is affected at. Wherever the local news is affected at, the station will be coming. Like, for example, if something bad happens in Philadelphia, it's going to be giving me news for that particular area through the station in Philadelphia, so I can stay on top of that breaking news. Now let's go to all stations. So what I can do here is I can check out the stations that are closest to me, or I can check out news from across the country. Like, for example, maybe you want to travel to New Mexico, or you have family in New Mexico. So what's going to happen is, if I click on New Mexico, I'm going to get all of the news in the area of New Mexico, like Albuquerque. I have 2 stations there. Let's see if I go to Texas. I'm going to be getting a lot of news in Texas. Like, maybe if you have family in Austin, you can check out 2 stations in Austin. Or if you have family in Vermont, check out 3 stations there. So let's take a look at one station, for example. Now, when the news airs live, you'll be able to check out the news on the main top of the screen. What you can also do is, if there's no news live right now, I can check out the previous newscast at the top of the screen or through the previous newscast section. Now, some stations do that, some stations don't do that. Same for the news clips. Some stations allow news clips, some stations don't allow news clips. So keep that in mind. But if you get the option to check out previous newscasts, you'll be able to play it. And what it'll do is, sometimes it'll play one ad and then it's going to be taking you to a newscast. Sometimes they don't even air any ads at all. And here's a great feature about this. When you're in the middle of the newscast and the newscast suddenly goes to a commercial break, it'll automatically skip that commercial and it'll automatically take me to the next segment of the newscast. So that's a nice feature right there on the NewsOn app. Also, what I can do is, if you click on add to favorites, like if you add a newscast to your favorites by clicking on that button, and I go back to the home screen, I'll be able to check out, like I just mentioned earlier, my favorite newscast. So I can see right here, I just added CBS Austin, so now it's on my favorite stations. So that's another nice feature right there on the NewsOn app. Another feature on the NewsOn is the search feature. So this is how the search feature is going to work. It's going to work if you have, like, if you remember like a call letter for your local station to check out the news in that area. So what you can do is you can search for something like WCVB, and boom, I can check out the news station for that particular area once I know the call letters. Or maybe you live in New York and you want to check out news from there. So I can put in new, and I have news in New York. So that's how the search function works on the NewsOn. That's a nice thing about it. Now, one thing that they could have added on there is, like, let me search for more than local news. Let me search for news clips. Like, for example, the weather. I could search for that. So that's a thing that you're not going to get on the search feature, and that's probably something I don't like about it. But other than that, that's NewsOn. That's how it works. That's number 2 on my top 5 local news and weather channels. And this is a great channel that you should check out on your Roku to get news and weather not only for your area but around the country as well. So that's number 2. Number 3 is CBS News. Now, as you know, CBS News has their own 24/7 streaming service, and CBS also has CBS owned and operated stations. So what they do is they tap into the resources of it, and what they do is create their own local versions of the CBS and streaming service. So the service of CBS and local channels is growing every few months or so, and by 2020 expect it to have a lot of CBS and local channels. But for now, you can check out CBS and local news in Los Angeles, California, New York, Massachusetts, and the Bay Area of California. So that's a nice thing right there. So what I can do is, if I live in the area of California, I can click on Los Angeles and I can check out the latest news in the area of California. So what it's going to be doing is it's going to be giving me basically non-stop news in the area of Los Angeles. Sometimes it airs like CBS and local original newscasts, and other times it's going to be airing regular newscasts from the local station that is related to the CBS and local channel. So that's a nice feature right there. What it also does is at the bottom of the screen, it's going to be giving me a ticker, like, you know, like the one I will get in the regular national newscast like CNN or Fox. Is going to be giving me a ticker of the news I need to know at the bottom of the screen. For example, I can get lottery results, I can get the weather, I can get my finance news, I can get sports headlines at the bottom of the screen through the ticker, any school closings, etc. So that's a nice feature right there. You know, just like what you'll get on CNN or stuff like that. So that's a nice feature right there. When they don't air any local news from CBS in locals or the CBS owned operating systems, it's going to be airing a simulcast of the CBSN. So it'll let you know about the news happening across the country overnight. So that's a nice feature right there to help you stay on top of the news 24/7 locally and nationally. And since it's CBSN, not only I can check out the local news, but I can also check out the national news as well. So that's another nice feature right there that I can check out newscasts moving to Washington DC, YouTube. I can check out shows right here. Like if I missed CBS this morning, I can check out the evening news. I can check that out, and a lot more stuff. So that's another nice feature that is available for you on the CBS News app. So that's number 3 on my top 5 local news and weather channels. CBS News, giving you not only national news but a whole lot. And when I mean a lot, I mean a whole lot of local news. So check that out for yourself right there. Number 4 is Weather Nation. Now, Weather Nation is basically straight up weather news. So it's the first time you log into the Weather Nation is that it's going to be asking you to put in a zip code or put in a location. And once you do that, it's going to be taking you to this main home screen where you can get the latest weather forecast. So I can check out the weather currently in my area. So if I click on that, I can check out the weather hourly, and I can check out in detail. Like for example, I have to go to work at 6 a.m. So I can check out the detailed forecast for the weather at 6 a.m. Let me go back here and let me go to the first 6-hour forecast, because you can check that out as well. So you can check out the weather today, tonight, or the next day. So that's a nice feature right there as well. If you click on the calendar, it's going to be giving you a 7-day forecast, and you can check out the forecast detailed. So for example, I have to go to somewhere important Thursday and I don't want to miss it. I can get the weather for Thursday, so I can check out that it's going to be sunny, it's going to be 35 degrees, the humidity 77, etc. The basic weather that you need to know. And if there's any alerts, it's going to be giving you a notification where you can check out that specific weather alert. As you can see, major snowstorm with thunder and all that stuff. I can check out the impact that's going to be having through the alert. And I can also check out a live stream of the Weather Nation. And finally, I can check out the radar for the area of where I live. And I can zoom in as well. So I can zoom in and I can see that the weather seems like the snow is starting to move upwards away from Massachusetts and into New England. So that's a nice touch right there. So that's where the nation gives you your local weather forecast anytime you need it. And you can even check out the live stream of it. So that's a cool thing. So that's number 4 on my local news and weather channels list for your Roku, Weather Nation. Number 5 is Stir. Now, Stir is owned by Sinclair. And since it's owned by Sinclair, you're not only going to be getting the latest entertainment content for free, like movies, TV shows. It's also going to be giving you the latest news from your area through Sinclair. Like, for example, if you live in Washington D.C., you can get WJLA in Washington D.C. So what it's going to be doing is, just on the local station, it's going to be playing the simulcast of the news, like the regular news that airs from 4 to 6. You're going to be getting the news from 4 to 6 the exact time on Stir. If your newscast airs at noon, you're going to be getting it at noon on Stir. So that's how the local news works on here. So also, I can go down to Stir first, and I can click on news powered by WJLA, and what it's going to be doing is going to be giving me the latest news live. I can check out previous newscasts that aired earlier in the day, and I can also check out news clips and my weather forecast clips. Now that I loaded up, I can show you that. So as you can see here, I can check out the news that's live now. I can check out any live events. I can check out the latest newscasts. I can check out the latest weather forecast. I can check out the latest news. I can check out the local news. That's the main thing. So I can check out local news here. And let me just click on the latest newscast here just to make sure it works. Okay, so it seems like you gotta play an ad first. So as you can see right here, I can check out the latest newscast, and it's going to be playing that news in full. Like the news that aired at 11 p.m. I'll be able to check that out anytime I want. And I can also check out the weathercast. So let me make sure that works as well. So as you can see right here, that's the local weather in Washington D.C. So as you can see, the clips work fine right here, and you can play it smoothly. You just gotta go through an ad each time before you be able to check out the latest news and weather on Stir. So that's Stir. You can check out the latest local news and weather for your area through your local Sinclair broadcasting station. So that's number 5. So that's it. Those are the top 5 local news and weather channels that you can check out on your Roku for free. Let me recap it for you one more time. Number 1, your local news station. If you know their code letters, like for example, if you live in Massachusetts and you know WFXT, put it in. If you live in Florida and you know the code letters for that, WFTV, put it in. So that's number 1. Number 2, NewsOn. So it's going to be giving you all of your local news in that specific app, all of the local news from your area and across the country in one app. Number 3, CBS News is harnessing the power of the own and operating stations that it has to give you CBS local stations that you know and love just 24/7. Number 4 is Weather Nation. Check that out if you want to get the latest local weather for your area. And number 5, Stir. So check that out if you enjoy their Sinclair local stations, and get the latest news through it live and on demand. So that's it. Hopefully you got the most out of the Roku experience through this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.